Hello, welcome to another edition of the Pace Report. I'm Brian Pace, reporting live here at the Cell Theater. It's part of this year's 2015 APAP Music Conference here in New York City. Performing music from his upcoming Rhodes Ahead Part 2 project is keyboardist as well as friend of jazz Marc Cary. Now, as you might know, this is a big week here in New York City for APAP, and what better way to kick off 2015 is by Marc really exposing his music to new fans from here and abroad for his weekly residency here at the Cell. We sat down earlier and we talked about the origins of the Rhodes. We talked about why he decided to reinvestigate the music and fusion jazz, as well as talk about why he's decided to perform his weekly residency here at the Cell and what he plans to accomplish both musically as well as what he wants his fans to take away with as far as the music experience here at the Cell Theater. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the sounds of Marc Cary and Rhodes Ahead as part of this year's 2015 APAP Music Conference here on the Pace Report, live here in New York City at the Cell Theater. You know, I want to go into Rhodes because you were part of the documentary that they did on the Rhodes keyboard. Go into a little brief history of where the Rhodes started and where it stopped and where it picked up again.
You know, I've been following the trail of the Rhodes for a minute. I think, you know, the start of it was, you know, that instrument was built from the remains of you know, warplanes. You know, I mean, literally, he took parts that were on warplanes from Vietnam, and or actually I think it was World War II at that time, and made the Fender Rhodes out of that. So it's like turning. It's a whole thing to me. When I found out about the history, it really resonated with me. Turn something that was a negative energy into something that could be positive, an instrument that could be used, like it is today. The Fender Rhodes has, come up in so many different places. I think one of the places that it came up that was most influential was with Miles Davis. The way he used the musicians that were at the time known as acoustic players, the way he introduced them to the Fender Rhodes and kind of encouraged them to utilize that instrument within his context was very inspirational to me. And I heard these stories later after playing the Rhodes and having had many of them myself. But like the way Chick Corea, Keith Jarrett, and Herbie, were influenced by the Rhodes, I shall say. I think they were influenced by that instrument as well. It really turned me on to the instrument and made me want to dig deeper into it. Also, when I was growing up, that was the electric piano. There was no other. It's either an acoustic piano or that. So I carried that Fender Rhodes around for years. I had an 88 key Fender Rhodes, and I carried it around for years and broke my back. In fact, I have a piece of mesh in my stomach because of the Fender Rhodes. But yeah, I think that instrument has shown up in every form of music that we know that's popular, and quite a bit of the underground stuff too. But Earth, Wind and Fire, George Duke. I mean, even people like
Donny Hathaway, Stevie Wonder.
Yeah, Les McCann, Lonnie Liston Smith. So this record came from that love, my love, and also the fact that it gave me opportunities to work. I could carry an instrument somewhere and work.
The one thing that always warms me when I listen to anybody that plays the Rhodes, including yourself, there's a soulfulness that comes from, and it's very organic how you guys are playing.
Yeah. Well, I think the what it does is that Fender Rhodes has that bell tone. That bell tone is like, it's on the other. It's high. It's a high register, and it's also, to me, it's significantly. It kind of points to the spiritual in a way to me. I'm not trying to call an instrument a spiritual. I think the musicians that play it bring a spiritual element to it. But it's very easy to get in contact with that element through that instrument. It's just the texture of it.
You think about it. I mean, you're listening to classic records like "Walking in Space" by Quincy Jones.
Yeah.
The opening, doom 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 doom.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's funny. In the places that it was used was just so tasty. Over the years, I mean, I can think of countless records, man, that come to mind that just motivate me to really want to get deeper into music and also express myself on that instrument. So I'm thankful for George Duke, Hampton Hawes, all these cats that actually, came out of their acoustic element to play this instrument, and leave the history. So, yeah.
You know, another thing about your evolution and growth, and I plugged this at the beginning of the segment, is that every week you're going to be performing here at the Cell Theater.
Yeah.
And tell music fans what they're going to expect and what are some of the things that you're going to try out musically here, because one of the things that most musicians need to do and have to do what you're doing is work out your new ideas.
Yeah. Well, I'm very fortunate to have musicians that I feel like I'm kindred with, rhythmically and spiritually. So there's certain things that I would try over these next 6 weeks that will involve vocals. It will involve poetry. It will involve the acoustic and the electric piano, acoustic bass and electric bass from everyone from Taras Mateen to Rashawn Carter. And I do believe that I'll have the opportunity to play with Curtis Lundy on this. Not sure, but that's the hopes of the 6-week residency. The whole point of having this residency is to experiment and to try different things, in an environment that's conducive to that. I mean, you can't really do that stuff in certain clubs. I mean, people, they don't want to hear experimentation. They want to hear the fine, finished product, refined product. And I save that stuff for those events. But when I'm have the opportunity to really explore my musical endeavors in a place like the Cell, I'm reaching deep, man. So I'm going from everything from poetry, spoken word, to the go-go elements. I'll be bringing some cats up from D.C. Probably around the 4th week, and the drum and bass and the jazz elements will always be involved.
How's family life contributed to your music, man? I'm looking at your seeds, man. Your little man is big now.
No, my children have now grown. In fact, I'm a grandfather now, so I've been inspired by them, written countless songs. I've been up countless nights thinking about ways to develop myself so that I can actually contribute to their lives much better. It's made me a totally better person in so many ways, because it's pushed me to push myself even further than I do, and I'm really hard on myself. I probably sleep less than most people I know, and I really try to get things done with this limited amount of time we have. I'd like to sleep more, but I can't forsake, all the things that are going on in my mind and all the possibilities that I have for sleep at this time.
You've got the same cast of characters for this Rhodes Ahead, and are you comfortable now doing the trio? Do you want to break it up, or is this part of the nucleus of you moving in another direction?
Well, the thing about me is I move my whole camp at the same time. Even if we got to all move one step and then go back and grab all the rest of the stuff, that's what we do. Now, I've been fortunate enough for certain groups that I have to take off and to move forward. But really the whole concept is just to move the whole camp, man. We're not in no rush. As musicians, we have to make a living for ourselves until we pass out of here. Unless you have money making money, which is definitely a goal of mine. But these are the things that keep us motivated to working and to exploring the possibilities. It's, the responsibilities that we have. I don't see myself letting up anytime soon unless, the Creator suggests that I do. Yeah. I forget what the first part of your question was.
That'll do it again for another edition of the Pace Report, reporting live here at the Cell Theater as part of the 2015 APAP Music Conference here in New York City. I'd like to personally thank the talented Marc Cary for his time, the staff and management here at the Cell Theater, as well as the organizers, as well as the press handling the APAP for this year. I'd like to also encourage you guys to please support Marc Cary in his weekly residency here at the Cell Theater. For more information, please visit Marc's website as well as my website at www.thepacereport.com for my weekly column as well as my past segments. Until next time, remember, if it's in the groove, it'll make you move. Till next time, peace.